Dear students, today we are going to learn classification of business activities. The classification of business activities can be better understood by observing the following diagram or chart. See, dear students, this is part about classification of business activities. See how it is done. So, business activities are to be classified on the basis of these two criteria. That means the classification of business activities can be studied under the following these two heads. That is, one is industry, the second one is what? Commerce. So again, in case of industry, we are going to be study three types of industries. One, primary industry, second one, secondary industry, and third one, tertiary industry. So industry can be studied under these three heads: primary, secondary, and tertiary industry. Again, in case of primary industries, we are going to study two types of industries, namely extractive industry and genetic industry. Next, in case of secondary industry, again it has been studied under the following of two heads. First one, manufacturing industry and construction industry. So in case of manufacturing industry, we can study four types of industry under the following of this manufacturing industry, which are analytical industry, synthetical industry, processing industry, and assembling industry. These are what about the first part, that is in case of industry part. The second part is what? Commerce. Again, in this commerce, we are going to be study two. One is trade, second one auxiliaries to trade. So again, in case of trade, we are going to be classified two types of trade, that is internal trade and external trade. Again, in case of internal trade, there are two types of trade, that is wholesale trade and retail trade. In case of external trade, there are three types are there. One is import trade is there, export trade is there, interport trade is there. So in case of auxiliaries to trade, these are the categorization, that is transportation is there, warehousing is there, insurance is there, banking and finance is there, advertising is there. This is what about under the following, under the heading of commerce. Dear students, we are going to study the first part, that is the industry part in this online class, and the second part, that is commerce, we are going to be take study in our next online class. So business activities can be studied under these two. One is industry, second one commerce. So in this online class, we are going to be study the first activity of business, that is industry, right? So what do you mean by industry? What is industry? ಕೈಗಾರಿಕೆ ಎಂದರೆ ಏನು? So what it does? So usually you all of you know the meaning of this, what do you mean by industry? So what it does? So industry, what it does, no doubt it is an economic activity. So industry converts raw material into finished product to fulfill the requirement of users. That means industry utilizing the different raw materials and converting these raw materials into meaningful products, services to satisfy the expectations of the human being. Thus industry is going to create farm utility for the product and services. That is what about industry does. Let us see what the meaning is says here. So industry refers to economic activities which are connected with the conversion of resources. So here the conversion of resources means what? Conversion of raw materials, whatever different raw materials which we are using for the sake of getting ready-made product or finished product, those are what? Resources, raw materials, into useful goods. For example, here we can see cement industry, sugar industry, right? Cotton textile industries, electronic industries. We can see different types of industries which are using different raw materials for the sake of providing the ready-made product or usable product to satisfy the requirement of a human being. That is what industry does, right? So as I already told you, just if you go through the chart, you will come to know industry is going to be studied under these three heads, as I already told you: primary industry, secondary industry, and tertiary industry. So what do we mean by primary industries or primary industry? So here the meaning is given: the activities which are connected with the extraction and production of natural resources and reproduction and development of living organism, plants, etc. Such kind of industries are called what? Primary industries. That means these industries activities are related to the extraction and processing of natural resources. That means these industries directly use natural resources as their raw materials and convert them into a consumable form of goods. For example, agriculture industry, mining industry, fishing industry, that means fisheries. These are what some of the example for what primary industries. So again, these primary industries are going to be studied under the following two heads, that is extractive industries and genetic industries. Question comes, what do you mean by extractive industries? So extractive industries are those industries which are deal with extraction and refinement of natural resources. That means the products of these industrial industries serve as a raw materials for other industries, which further processes these products into useful goods. Once again, you can see the earlier example like mining industry, fisheries, agriculture, and hunting. That is what about extractive industries. So see here, industries which are extract or drought products from natural sources are called what? Extractive industry. So these supply some basic raw materials that are mostly products of geographical or natural environment. This is the second one which we are going to take study under the heading of primary industry, that is what? Genetic industries. So genetic industries means these are the industries that undertake breeding of plants and animals which can be used for further reproduction. So example, we can see cattle breeding farms, poultry farms, and nurseries. So here the meaning is given: industries which are engaged in breeding plants and animals for their use in further reproduction are called what? Are called genetic industries. This is what about first part, that is primary industries. Now the second one which we are going to take study, secondary industries. So what do you mean by secondary industries? These industries include all those activities which are connected with what? Which are connected with the extraction and production of natural resources and reproduction and development of living organism. That means the products which have been already extracted from the primary industries, those are going to be utilized by these secondary industries. That means the secondary industries are going to be converting raw material with the help of machineries, technology, and made available to the place of consumption. That is what about secondary industries. So secondary industries are going to be classified. If you go through the chart, you will come to know secondary industries are going to be classified into two, that is manufacturing industry and construction industries. So before going to that, what do you mean by secondary industries? So here is the meaning given: industries which are engaged in producing goods through processing of raw materials and thus creating farm utilities are called manufacturing industry. So that means these are industries acquire raw materials and convert them into final goods after further processing and value addition. So these industries are going to be classified into two, that is secondary industries are going to be classified into two types of industries, that is manufacturing industry and construction industries. Now question comes, what do you mean by manufacturing industries? So the name itself is indicates here manufacturing industry. So manufacturing industries means what? These are industries are engaged in producing goods through processing of raw materials and thus creating farm utility. Creating farm utility, that means what? Farm utility, creating farm utility means what? The goods or services must be fulfilled the expectation of the users. That is what about utility. So here in this secondary industries, we are going to study manufacturing industry and construction industries. So in this secondary industry, first one we have come to know, that is a manufacturing industry. So what is this manufacturing industry? Industries which are engaged in producing goods through processing of raw materials and thus creating farm utilities are called what? Manufacturing industry. For example, take sugar industry. So sugar industry is a secondary industry and also it is a manufacturing industry. So what it does, it converts a raw material into finished product. So what is the raw material for this sugar industry? Raw material for this industry is what? Sugar cane. Sugar cane is the raw material, and which is going to be converting into different stages of manufacturing process, and at the end of manufacturing process we are able to get the two products from this industry, that is sugar and jaggery. So that is what manufacturing industry does. So further, this manufacturing industry we are going to be studied under these four heads, that is analytical industry, synthetical industry, processing industry, and assembling industry. So question comes, what do you mean by analytical industry? So analytical industries are those industries which are analyze a single product and then refine and separate different elements from it to prepare their final products. That means this analytical industry using a single input as a raw material, but which is going to producing different types of products. That is what analytical industry. So one more time, analytical industry is that industry which uses a single raw material as an input and which gives different products. For example, crude oil. So this crude oil can be split into different products like petrol, diesel, kerosene. That is what about analytical industry. Then the second one, that is synthetic industries. So in case of synthetic industry, these industries combine different raw materials. That means this synthetic industry uses more than one raw material. That means two raw materials are more than two raw materials to produce a single product. That means these industries combine different raw materials to produce a completely new product. For example, cosmetic cream industry, cement industry, these are what example we can give for synthetic industries. Now the third one is coming up, that is a processing industry. So processing industries means these are the industries in which the raw material is processed and refined in various stages and converted into the final product. So for this we can again go for the sugar industry. So in case of sugar industry, what is the first stage of manufacturing process? That is a raw material of this is what sugar cane. So sugar cane is going to be converted into final product. So what is the semi finished product of the sugar cane? That is a sugar juice. So this is a semi finished product. So what is the finished product? Finished product is what? That is sugar or jaggery. That means in the different stages, by surpassing different stages of the manufacturing process, we are able to get the final product. Like sugar cane can be converted into sugar juice, then that sugar juice is going to be converted into product like sugar, or it may be the jaggery. That is what processing industry does. Even paper industry also we can give for this processing industry. So the last one under this manufacturing industry, that is assembling industry. So the term itself indicates here assembling industry. So these industries assemble different component parts to make a new product. These industries are going to assemble different parts, means different components, different spare parts, different tools to prepare or to make a new product. And here we can see this type of assembling industry. We can see mobile industry. That means for producing this mobile, we are using different components, and these different components are we are purchasing from different manufacturers. For example, mobile and battery. So mobile manufactured in one country, but that battery is taken from different countries. That is, even in case of television, so different components of television are imported from different nations, and we are making a product telephone or television. Even in case of car, motor vehicles, then computers, washing machine, all these are what electronic items, right? So this is what about assembling industry. So the second one under the secondary industry, that is what construction industries. So what do you mean by construction industries? These industries are involved in the construction of buildings, dams, bridges, roads, as well as canals. So this is what construction industries. That means these industries are connected with the construction and development of infrastructure, like construction of buildings, apartments, bridges, dams, roads, railway tracks. These are what about some of the examples we can see construction industries. And the third one is coming up is what territory industry. ಇದನ್ನ ತೃತೀಯ ವಲಯ ಅಂತ ಕರೀತಾರೆ. So what do you mean by territory industries? These industries are regarded as a lifeline of an economy and act as the basic facilitators for the operation of primary and secondary industries. That means these territory industries are considered as what a lifeline of an our Indian economy, because these are act as the basic facilitators for the operation of primary industries and secondary industries. So territories and territory industries are going to helping both for primary industries and secondary industries for their smooth functioning. So let us see the meaning what it says. These are concerned with providing support services to primary and secondary industries as well as activities relating to trade. So where which are these territory industries? For example, banking. So, what is the service of banking? Banking provides credit facilities to the business. Then transportation. We need a transportation. Why we need transportation? Because we have to made goods available from one place to another place. That means for movement of goods or people from one place to another place, we required what? We required transportation. Either it may be the road transportation or air transportation or water transportation, but we required transportation for movement of goods or products from one place to another place. Then again we need communication. That means because producers are one side, customers are one side, so the business must be communicate its products and services to the people, means to the customers. How that business is going to communicate means to pass on the information, to convey the message, to convey the news. So how it can be communicated? By using some media. It may be the advertisement, or it may be any other media. It may be the television, it may be the newspaper. There are different medias are there through which the various goods and services of the business are going to be informing to the public, to the people. So that is what territory industry. Next, insurance is there. So we know that business involve some risk. So in the features of business we came to know uncertainty of risk due to some unfavorable matters or unfavorable issues. So due to some reasons, if the business suffered from loss or if business is affected, then there will be the insurance company is going to help. So what do you mean by insurance? Insurance means to cover the risk which is faced by the business. Then warehousing. So warehousing we required because friends, there is a time gap between production of goods and consumption of goods. That means the day in which goods are manufactured, the same day those are not going to be market. So the producer or the businessman has to wait for demand. So till then whatever goods manufactured, these must be kept intact, means goods must be preserved for a longer period of time. So that is going to be done by warehousing. That means storage of goods, granary. Then next one is what? Packaging also there. Why we need to pack the goods? Why need to pack the goods means packaging? Because of what? For the reason of safety from damage, safety from spoilage or leakage. So in transit, whenever goods are going to be dispatching from one place to another place, the goods must be in a good condition. So there should not be any harm for the physical form of the goods. For that we have to pack the goods properly by protecting from damage or spoilage or leakage. So these are considered what territory industries. So territory industries: banking, transportation, communication, insurance, warehousing. So these we are going to be studied in detail in subsequent chapters. So territory industries are what? These industries, and these industries are going to be helping for smooth conducting of business activities. That means if business is performing well, and because of these lifeline, what are the lifelines of these business or this Indian economy? That is banking system, transportation system, communication system, insurance system, and warehousing system. Apart from this, there are other factors are also there which we are going to be take study in coming lessons, in coming chapters. So this is what about the first part of business activity. Make it a point, dear students. That is what classification of business activities we have studied so far. Industry meaning, industry is classified three: primary, secondary, tertiary. Again, in case of primary, extractive and genetic. Then in case of secondary, manufacturing industry and construction industry. Again, in case of construction manufacturing industry, there are four types of industries, that is analytical industry and synthetical industry, processing industry, then assembly industry. Then the second part in case of secondary industry, that is a construction industry. So these are what about concept come under this industry. So other part, that is what commerce, which we are going to be take study in our next online class. So meanwhile, I will give you the following questions, dear students, and you have to write the answer and preserve these answers, which will help to you for reading regularly and remembering the concept. So answer the following questions. First question, name any four economic activities. Second one, business is an dash 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 activity. Third one, what is industry? Fourth one, give the meaning for genetic industry and give one example, right? Fifth one, give an example for construction industry. Sixth one, explain any four features of business. And seventh one, what is manufacturing industry? Explain its types. So these are the questions. You have to write answer for these questions and preserve the information, which will help to you in future. So this is what about the first part of a business activity, that is industry. So in our next online class, we will study about the second part, that is commerce. Thank you.